I forgot about that hypnotic countdown music.
All right.
Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome back to another chat with Castles, Capes, and Clones. It's been a hot minute. It's been like what 4 months.
We did one. We did a pre-taped one.
Did we?
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah, I can't remember, but anyway, it's the holidays got away, and as many of you know, I've been taking kind of a mental health break.
Yeah.
But March is the month to come back. And Rich and I decided that we were going to do a live, um, probably last minute advertising. So apologies on our part, but hopefully, if you aren't here today, you will. Oh, look at this! Is Christine from Magic Wishing Star. Hi, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
By the way, love the ears. I'm sorry, I meant to write you, but you'll see my reaction tomorrow. This is for Year of the Ear that I'm part of and Christine is part of.
Oh, what's that about?
Huh?
What's that about?
Year of the Ear is a swap where you swap with somebody else a pair of ears, but the thing is that it cannot be like official Disney or like official license. It has to
Okay.
either be created by hand or bought by a small shop. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so like for me, I have no talent in the ears, but I love taking part of it. So my friend Meg over at Meglet is Geek makes my ears. Before that was April from Thrifty Nerdy Mom. And I want to just give a shout out to both of them.
Nice.
But Christine has made one of my favorite ears. I wore them for Lunar New Year, and they were Mulan ears, and they're
Nice.
quite fabulous. So
Nice.
yeah, all right. Well, um, as you know, my name is Loren, and I'm here with my cousin and co-pilot, Cousin Rich.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing all right. I'm trying to remember how to do all this.
I know, right? Yeah, it's been a while, but we'll get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, and it's a different night
Yeah,
that we normally do it. Also,
yeah. Um, so anything new going on?
I think work's busy. Um, Other than that, yeah, I haven't made my way out to the park as much as I've wanted to because of the work. This is busy and life happens, but otherwise, I'm all right. How are you?
Do well. I the last time I went to the park was in February,
Right.
and I got a whole bunch of stuff done. I went to do the Lunar New Year thing, and I got in line for May and Ming, the characters from Inside Out, the mom and daughter. Uh, I got there at 9, like close to 9.
Mhm.
And they didn't come out until 10:30 or 11, I think. So I was in line for a while, but I was close to the front.
Uh-huh.
And when they finally started moving the line, they said the line was about 2.5 hours. So um, I I was glad that I went when I did because at that time there's not a lot going on like character wise in the park,
Mm.
and that's what I am, like a big character guy. Um, yeah, it's, as you might not notice. Um,
What?
I know, it's so crazy, but they were so fun to meet. I mean, like one of my best character interactions.
Cool.
Just like it's like they jumped out of the movies. And then I got to see Pixar Place Hotel Have you been over there yet?
No. Have I?
I don't know. It's amazing there, though. Like
No, I
because
saw the new DVC wing of the hotel, of the Disneyland hotel.
oh, okay, yeah,
I haven't made my way to the Pixar Pier when it opened.
yeah. It's really really nice. I mean, considering what they had to work with,
Yeah.
I mean, they really Pixared that place up. And the cool thing is that oh, you would have loved them, Christine, May and Ming. They were like amazing. Um, the cool thing is that Joe Gardner from Soul
Yeah.
is their piano player. So you can go and take pictures with him, listen to, but he actually plays the piano and sings. And
Nice.
that I think is what makes that hotel so unique because they have this like little alcove where the stairs is, and they have like all these paintings done in kind of like a soul style. It's really cool. And then Bing Bong. Yes, I am going hopefully at beginning of May to Pixar Fest. Um, Bing Bong is exclusive to that hotel, and that was really cool meeting Bing Bong as well. And there was weirdly enough like no lines. I met him up near the pool, and then later I was just kind of wandering around, and then I saw him taking pictures in the lobby with people. I was like, woohoo! So that was really fun. So yeah, that's cool. I did that, and then today I just voted my shareholder vote in
Oh,
the Disney
is that the whole
proxy.
Bob
Yeah,
Iger versus those
yeah,
other dude?
Peltz,
Yeah.
Rizzullo, and Perlmutter. And I was not happy about Peltz and Rizzullo to start off with, but then
Right.
when they added Perlmutter, I was like, no. You know what I'm talking about, right? Ike
Yeah.
Perlmutter, who used to be the head of Marvel and
Yep.
was like a
Yep.
total grossy. Josie Grossi.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's such a
there's that.
weird. It's such a weird thing because, like, I don't know if. Well, I definitely didn't want that group to take over, but
Yeah.
also I'm not exactly 100% like happy with what Iger's done the last year
Yeah,
or two.
I mean it's been, but I think though that ultimately is doing a much better job than if Peltz was doing,
Yes.
especially Perlmutter got on the board. Although
Yeah.
Perlmutter was not on the ballot, it was just
He's
Peltz
part
and
of that,
Rizzullo,
but
but
he's going to
he
be
is
a
part of it.
presence.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, well, let's get into the news, shall we?
Yep.
All right. So the kind of like a state of the parks here. 60 billion over the next decade will be spent on theme parks and cruise lines. Man, 50% will go to parks, 20% to cruise line, and 30% to tech and maintenance. So what do you think about that?
Like, the one thing I'm not sure of, because Disneyland Forward, and we'll talk about that a little later,
Yeah.
was, I don't know if that's part of that or this it's was already incorporated into that. Because Disneyland Forward was a thing before this
Yeah.
whole, and it sounded in the early days like it was a whole separate thing where this budget was new, but the budget for Disneyland Forward was always kind of there.
Right.
Um, But either way, both parks in the US, I feel, need some love. Considering everything, especially everything I see like in Paris, in
Shanghai,
Shanghai, and
yeah,
Tokyo, in
Hong
Hong
Kong,
Kong.
yeah,
I mean, we got Star Wars, right? But like,
yeah,
we need. I don't know. As much as I love Galaxy's Edge, it's lacking in a lot of things that were kind of promised, and in terms of just environmental stuff,
yeah,
like characters and
yeah. At least they have more
ambiance.
characters than they had, but the
Yeah,
whole timeline is screwed up there
yeah, and that
because,
too. They just need to. We talked about this before. They just need to
yeah,
like
I
stop
mean,
clutching onto that.
yeah, I mean, I think they just have to, because Darth Maul walks amongst like Ahsoka and all that jazz, and it's Fennec Shand is there and Boba,
That's here.
Mandalorian.
Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
weird that Florida doesn't get those.
Well, I think they have Mandalorian now.
Done.
I believe that they have Mandalorian. I don't think that they have the others. So,
It's just weird. And then it's
um,
also weird, like they get rid of them, kind of like Marvel does. Like I have Marvel
I
has all the
know.
staples, but then all the special ones are there for
Yeah,
like a couple days. Seems like because I never see them.
I know. I hate that. I hate that because I missed like Mantis.
Yeah,
Because
never
I
saw
went
her.
maybe a couple weeks after she came out, and I could never find her, and I can't find her ever since. I hate I
Yeah,
hate that because I love Mantis is one of my favorites. So um, that's been a bummer. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that I am glad that they at least still have Shang Chi out, Ant Man and the Wasp. I hope that they just keep Ms. Marvel out, and I mean Ms. Marvel and Monica Rambeau. I think those would add diversity. Um, if they just kept having them come out. I don't know if OB still comes out because he was
I don't
out for
think
a
so.
while, actually,
Was he? I haven't seen him.
surprisingly. Yeah,
But
because I was afraid that I was going to meet him when I met him last year, and yeah, he was still there. Came out at night, like
mm,
late afternoon, nighttime. So anyway, yeah, I I would love to see. I don't even know if Hera is still there. I think Ahsoka is still out. Um, but I
yeah,
thought
I think
The Hera was spot on to me.
yeah.
Yeah, so
I feel it's easier to do a Twi'lek than like
I think
Ahsoka. Like the whole thing with like the Torgrudas, it's very
yeah,
weird
yeah,
because if you get it like the proportions wrong, then it looks silly.
right, right,
Um, but yeah, but yeah, like
yeah.
they spend money on these costumes. Like I'm still bummed I never got to see Moon Knight
Oh, that
because that
was
costume
cool.
looked great.
Well,
All
and
versions of Moon Knight that were out.
yeah, I it's weird though because he only showed up on top of the
Yeah,
Avengers headquarters.
even then
But it was really cool seeing him up there. And it was Mr. Knight who met people
on the ground.
down below. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that looked really cool as well. And he's often out during Oogie Boogie. So they usually have him and Scarlet Witch coming out during Oogie Boogie for some reason. Like that's it.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I didn't add like the plans that I've seen for Walt Disney World only because we've talked about them before. And nothing's really changed.
Yeah.
Um, it's like Encanto's coming, Coco maybe, a villains thing. I
Yeah,
know
it seems
dinosaurs
exciting.
probably going to turn into Indiana Jones.
That's what I would imagine, because that's what that whole area is supposed to be like, South America.
Yeah,
So that Indiana Jones and Encanto are kind of their two things
right.
that they're gonna have over there, which is such a weird mixture, but I can see it working.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and then like the 30% on tech and maintenance, I really do hope uh there's they fix some stuff, make
yeah,
things better looking.
yeah. That's a big chunk, 30%. So
Yeah.
that's
Um,
good.
I'm assuming some of that's also like tech. I wonder if that's like more R&D side.
Yeah, true.
So we'll
I
see.
mean, which is needed too, because I mean they have to. They're starting to lose out to
Universal.
Universal
Yeah,
and
with
all the stuff
Epic,
that
the
they
Epic
have.
universes and stuff.
Yeah, the Mario, Super Mario, and all that jazz. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the future.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm glad Universal has stepped up their game because then it makes Disney have to also.
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
have the ability because all the stuff coming out overseas look amazing.
yeah. I think that Disney had been so complacent and just thinking, the tourists are gonna, eat it up, um, because they're tourists, and that's the thing that I like about Disneyland, is the fact that it's mostly APs, so everybody wants to see something different all the time.
Yeah.
And so Disneyland gets a lot of the newer stuff, um, and so it's time that Walt Disney World got some shakeup as well. Let's go ahead and go to Disneyland Forward, since we're kind of talking about this kind of stuff. But we are one step closer to being fully greenlit, as the Anaheim Planning Commission has approved the plan. So now it goes to City Council. And I guess we'll see. Disney had been very, um, like, getting the education out, like going to parks and setting up tables and all
Yeah.
that stuff. I would have loved to have gone to a park and just like wandered over and said, "What's this got going on?"
What is this
um,
Disneyland you speak of?
what is Disneyland? Please explain.
Right. Um,
um, yeah, so we will see, because I mean, like, gosh, it would be so nice if we could take over those parking lots, um, and expand the parks.
yeah.
Although
And to be
I
clear,
really, oh, go ahead.
let's say to be clear, because I've seen some people say because like it comes very close to some apartments and whatever, and some people are like, are they just kicking people out? Like all of this is already land that Disney owns. They just
Yeah,
need approval to rezone that land so that they can build on it. Um,
yeah,
they did their due diligence. Like we talked about one of our last streams months ago. We did talk about all the stuff that they had to include in their um, proposal,
right.
including like sound levels and all these kind of things. And we kind of got to look at kind of what they're looking at, and it's almost like two. It's either looks like expanding both Disneyland and California Adventure, or it's almost like a third park size.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, so I don't know exactly what how they're gonna do that. But there's plans for many different attractions of different, for adults and kids and shows and rides and all those kind of things. So it's all laid out. Like they have a kind of general idea.
Yeah.
Um,
What they
it's
want to
gonna
do over there.
take a while.
Right. Right.
Whereas like so the 60 billion for over the next decade is one thing. Disneyland Forward was like I think it was like a 30-year plan.
Yeah, there's a 30-year plan. So,
So
I mean, I would love to see it before I die.
right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be old.
Uh, yeah, I know exactly. Uh, so also Avatar Land, like, where are they going to put that? It's got to be part of the Disneyland Forward. Now, Iger had originally uh, talked about it as being an experience, but then now he's implied that it is going to be a full on land, like whether it's like as full as Pandora is in um,
Animal
Animal
Kingdom.
Kingdom. I don't know. Uh, but, I'm going to assume that at bare minimum, there will be Flight of Passage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
It's still questionable. Like why? Like
yeah,
look, I like that ride. And it does look like the Animal Kingdom area of Pandora looks great.
hmm
I'm just like no one talks about Avatar. Not really.
yeah. It's sad. It's sad. I mean, although I mean, what's this called? Way of Water.
Yeah.
That it did really well in theaters, but yeah, people don't really talk about it. Like, the only people who really talk about it are people who are in Florida and they're trying to get to Flight of Passage.
Right.
Um, and so that's why I'm going to assume. I mean, they really want it to be a thing, um,
They're trying to make
because
fetch
there's
happen.
like how many more movies are there going to be?
I don't
Four
know,
more,
11.
something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Something like that. But it's like
yeah,
it's one of those things where like I don't think Avatar has hit the zeitgeist as they wanted it to. Like sure, people
yeah,
watch it, but it's not like once it's over, no one's like talking about it. Like it
yeah. That's the thing.
doesn't ring into culture. Like
Nobody's,
it's not a thing.
yeah, nobody's like, oh God, I want to be Sully as in
Yeah.
a V for Halloween or
Yeah.
whatever her name is, Nethriti or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what I mean?
so
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Nobody talks about it. I mean, they did obviously back in the day, but really, it was more just for the technological excellence and not the lore
Yeah.
that I'm
Um
thinking. I mean, at least
where
to my recollection.
yeah, like where there's so much Disney beloved Disney IP that they can use
Hmm
out outside of Avatar,
Yeah,
which they've done overseas. So
right.
Arendelle, Zootopia, like
Yep.
those things make more sense than Avatar.
Yeah, I mean, like Zootopia. I want Zootopia. I love. Like it's weird. Like I don't watch Zootopia all the time, but I love like Zootopia. Like
Right.
the whole vibe of it and just what I saw in Shanghai or from videos.
Mm.
Uh, it looks amazing. You know, even Arendelle look. I mean, in Hong Kong, yeah, like so. It looks like you're in Arendelle.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's what the U.S. parks needs. I mean, the last time I remember anybody being like, "Ooh ah," it was Cars Land. I mean, I think people were impressed by Galaxy's Edge, and of course, seeing the Millennium Falcon there,
Yeah.
amazing. But I mean, like in terms of just like wow, taking your breath away. I think Cars Land, honestly, it was the last time.
Yeah. Because it looks like
Yeah.
you're there. Whereas Galaxy's Edge is not a place we've seen in any
Yeah.
of the movies. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like just a place where you can see the Millennium Falcon in an
I think
X-wing.
that's it. It's like it doesn't even look really Star Warsy. If like there's this whole weird area where there's nothing, and then
Yeah,
I mean you got different things going on, but it doesn't particularly feel like Star Wars to me for some reason.
that's why they need
Except for the
they need
Millennium Falcon
that's why they need more ambiance. They need characters that we recognize
and droids.
and droids to make it look
Droids,
like a
like
Star
even
Wars
little
area.
mouse droids, wandering around and all that. Like
Yeah,
those little. Oh my god! I'm so sad that I missed the. What are those called? The BD? Are they BD
they're not
something droids?
BD droids.
Oh, they're not.
No, they're not. They look kind of like them,
Yeah.
but they're not. Um, I don't know if there's an official name for them,
Anyway, they
but
were adorable.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I would love to see that happening. I would like. Oh man, I would die. Anyway, yeah. Well, lots of stuff coming. Um, let's talk about some of the stuff that we know about for sure. So, Star Tours, actually, not too long from now, um, will at both um, Walt Disney World and Disneyland,
In Paris.
uh, and Paris. Um, the the new locations are going to be based on Andor, Ahsoka, and The Mandalorian, and that's going to start on April 5th. So that's exciting stuff.
Which is the beginning of Season of the Force here in Disneyland.
Oh.
So that also includes a lot of new merch, a lot of food.
Mhm.
Hyperspace Mountain comes back.
Nice.
Um, yeah, there's a tattered stormtrooper helmet popcorn bucket
Ha.
coming out. A Darth
What?
Maul line of clothing. I think the food guide's gonna come out soon. But yeah, it's celebrating everything Star Wars. I think up till June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll be able to see it in early May. Actually, I will be there for May 4th. Not May 4th, the event, but I will be there on May 4th.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna be there April 6th. My plan
cool.
is to just keep riding Star Tours. Unless that line is
Yeah.
like 5 hours long. Then I'm like, nope.
Yeah. That's cool. All right, so there are going to be some more Tiana themed locations. The Briar Patch is going to become Raised Berets, and the storefront side of Pooh's Corner will be Louis' Country. Interesting, Critter Country. Um, so obviously, I know I read about like there's going to be fireflies flying around outside. I mean, like not real fireflies, but you know, Disney magic fireflies. And I wonder if because it says storefront side of Pooh's Corner, so I wonder if the actual candy side
That
will
stays
be
because technically that was Pooh's Corner.
yeah.
The store side, I think his name's something different, but yeah, the way it sounded to me is like that they're keeping Pooh's Corner as the little where the candy stuff is, and then
Yeah.
all the merchandising part will be um Louis' Critter Country.
It's so like crazy, like that. There's just like this Winnie the Pooh corner. I just feel like they should just rename it Pooh's Corner.
Right.
You
100
know,
Acre Wood.
or 100 Acre Woods or something. I mean,
Yeah.
instead of making it Critter Country still, because it's just unless they're trying to say and just make Hungry Bear Winnie the Pooh themed thing. because it just seems ridiculous that they just keep calling it Critter Country.
Yeah.
Oh, but I sorry, just saw that Christine said goodbye to us. So anyway,
Bye.
goodbye if you're still there.
Um, oh, I forgot to mention also about the Season of the Force, the Star Wars thing. So when you go, if you want to watch the fireworks, if there's fireworks that night, they've added. If you go watch it from Galaxy's Edge, you'll hear a different set of music to the fireworks. That's Star Wars themed. Because before, it's a cool place. It's a cool place to watch it, but it's never. You can never hear the music because it's Star Wars, right? So they don't play like Disney music over there. So now they will be playing. So all the fireworks will be synced up, or the music will be synced up to the fireworks, but it will be Star Warsy.
I mean, I really hope that they just use the classic, music, and not like try to come up with a Star Warsy sounding thing. You know, that's that was a cool thing. Like when I went to Star Wars weekends at Walt Disney World, was being able to see that kind of whole um, Star Wars um, fireworks show, and it's so magical seeing you know fireworks go off to Star Wars music. It really is.
Right. Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
Because like when Star Wars nights happen, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what it is.
All right. So at Walt Disney World, Disney Animal Kingdom, we know that Encanto is coming to Dinosaur Land or whatever it's called, Dino Land.
Dino Land.
Yeah, I think it's Dino Land. Uh, that's going to be converted to more of a South American themed place, which makes sense because they need to highlight some South American animals. There's a lot of different kinds of animals like the capybara and kinkajou and all that jazz. So that'll be neat. So Encanto will be part of that land, but also Indiana Jones. And we talked about Dinosaur probably converting to in Indiana Jones because it's basically the same ride system that we have in Disneyland.
Right.
And then Zootopia, there's going to be a Zootopia show that will, I guess, apparently be replacing It's Tough to Be a Bug at the Tree of Life. Which is kind of sad because I just feel like A Bug's Life is so underrated, and that was like one of the last places that you actually got some kind of Bugs Land thing.
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, I could understand Zootopia is big, but I just wish that there was another place that they could have done Zootopia thing. You know what I mean? Yellow Bean.
They should put another Bugs Land.
I mean, why not put another? Why not put a Bugs Land in Animal Kingdom? They've got space there. I mean, there's like this whole area between the I don't know what the theater is called, but where Finding Nemo is, and Dino Land, and
yeah,
they
that
could
whole area.
definitely put them. Yeah, you could put it there. So I don't know,
or even in Disneyland Forward. Like they haven't really said what parks or what lands are going to be there. Like if they did a Bugs Land where it's not strictly like like Bugs Land when we was in DCA was really much like really kiddie carnival ride stuff.
Yeah.
Like if they improve upon it and then make it really spent money on making that a true kind of Bugs Land experience, Bugs Life experience, with not just like carnival rides with this slap on things that look like, you know,
bug things.
bug stuff, I think might work. But because I think kids will need an area over there that's for them.
Yeah, I
Right.
like. Yeah, I think so because I think that's ultimately what's missing from California Adventure right now. It's just like a kids area because I remember like taking people around the parks, and there was a couple families who just wanted to have a place where their kids could just play and do something like that,
Yeah.
and they always loved going to Bugs Land. And they were sad when it went away. Um,
Yeah. I mean, like they
so
have the forest
they have the
area, but
jumping
like,
jellyfish. Yeah.
well, not like the what's it called? The forest place where Villain's Grove is.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. They
But it's
do
not
have
really
that.
themed to anything besides,
Yeah. I mean, like I
like,
liked when they had. I don't know why they took Brother Bear out. I mean, it's still a movie of Disney. They still have the totem pole, but then they put it up, which was another good thing. But then they took it out. I'm like, why not just have? Why not have all of them there? Like
yeah,
maybe Brother Bear in one part, and then Russell and Doug in another part, and Chippendale and whatever. Like
yeah,
all the forest animals and things.
yeah.
That would
But
be
like,
fun.
I feel like definitely because so Disneyland has Toontown, which is crazy busy and crowded because all the little kids, love that area.
Yeah.
Um, the forest area is kind of off a hidden path. It doesn't look like anything. It's not themed to anything. So it's like
Hmm.
there are kids running around that thing. But
Yeah.
I think if they themed it better, it'd be more popular. But then
Yeah.
if you go, the size of what Disneyland Forward is looking like, that side of the parks will also need something for kids to run around. So
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, because I'd make like I'm
Yeah.
pretty like just make a whole bunch of make a one of Bugs Land or something, Bugs Life Land.
I remember when they had those water features, and my nephews are our nephews would like I have a picture of Anthony just sitting and putting his head up against the thing
Uh,
and water coming all over him, and I was like, you don't know where that water's been. But he was happy. They were happy, and also when we go to Universal, they could spend all day in Curious George, and I'm like, oh, I just want to be in Curious George. But they left it, and that's the important part, really,
yeah,
ultimately.
yeah. Kids
Yeah,
need to be able to have an area where they can just let loose and be
yeah,
kids
totally.
away from the adults
Right.
who are
All
lining
right.
up for popcorn buckets.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's move on to D23 Expo 2024. There's been some news that has come out about it. They did I didn't pull up the list, but
Oh
they
yeah,
announced I can't remember what they called them, but the
legends, Disney
class of
legends.
2024 or
Yeah.
whatever. And God, I wish I could remember who was on this list. Um,
Well, Harrison Ford, John
Harrison
Williams.
Ford, yeah,
John Williams, I'm like, he's not yet,
yeah,
but yet the cast of Frozen was, and also
yeah,
Joe Rody. Like,
yeah. Joe Rody.
I'm like, what? He wasn't like the first or one of the first.
I know that seems crazy to me, but there were always like weird ones. Like last year was when they gave it to Bette Midler, and Bette Midler was in all those Touchstone show. I mean, like Big Business and Down and Out in Beverly Hills and
Yeah.
Outrageous Fortune and
Is Kurt
Ruthless
Russell
People or
a
whatever.
legend yet? because Kurt Russell was like in
he's
those 70s kind of like
because he was
Disney
I think actually no, I
movies.
think he is.
Is he?
I think he is a Disney legend. Yeah, because he made his return with Ego by being Ego and in Guardians, and
Okay.
but I believe that he is because of his work in the on all those films back then.
The list is Colleen Atwood
Okay.
for costumes.
Yeah.
Angela Bassett.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Martha Blanding. I know who that is.
Not sure.
She was as the first permanent full-time Black tour guide.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
James L. Brooks.
Okay. Yes, Simpsons.
Yeah. James Cameron. Speaking of Avatar.
Avatar.
Jamie Lee Curtis is on there.
Oh, because Freaky Friday.
And Haunted Mansion now also.
Oh, and Haunted Mansion. Yes.
Miley Cyrus.
It makes sense. That makes
which Hannah Montana. Steve Ditko is gonna get
be a legend. Interesting. Good.
Yeah.
He should have been awarded when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
Because I mean he
the
did
three of them.
Yeah, I mean Jack Kirby co-created most of the most popular, but one could argue that Steve Ditko and Stan Lee created the most famous Spider-Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford, I've mentioned.
Yes.
Mark Henn.
Oh, he's an animator.
Yeah, animator. Frank Oz, which again makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Muppets and Yoda.
Yeah.
Kelly Ripa.
Yeah, that makes sense because the talk show has been on for
ever.
She's been on since Regis.
Yeah, that's so long ago. Yeah. Joe Rody. Is it Rhodey or Road?
Yes,
it's Rhodey, right?
Yeah, I believe it's Rhodey.
Okay. John Williams, as I said.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's the list. So
very good. Hopefully, I can make it in this year. God, I mean,
well,
last year I was so bummed.
That's part of the news.
Oh, really? Okay, hold on. You're gonna have to tell me this because I didn't read through the whole thing.
All right.
Wait, let me just go and say that tickets are going on sale at the end of the month. There are going to be two different types of tickets: Fan Pass and Ultimate Fan Pass. And you want to talk about the difference between the two because I have a feeling it's tied.
So Fan Pass is the typical convention pass. It's access to the convention center or whatever. Ultimate Fan Pass is where you pay a lot more. Well, depending. You pay more to be able to attend the three big panels. And these three big panels are going to be held at the Honda Center and not the convention center. So
what a pain.
Yeah. But that ticket guarantees you attendance. But so the cost of it, if you want to sit, so the Honda Center, for those who don't know, it's where the Anaheim Ducks play. So it's a stadium.
And it's not near the convention center. I mean, it's in the same town, and it's like if you're driving, it's fine, but then you got to deal with the traffic and whatever. And I have a scooter, so I'm going to need some kind of transportation.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to figure that out, but depending on what level you want to sit at, that also affects cost. So if you want to sit in the highest levels, that's the cheapest. And then there's the mid level, which is a little more expensive, and then even closer is even more expensive. It's like another $20 added to the ticket for the nosebleeds. and I don't know. It gets more expensive, and it's a lot more hassle, which is so it's a weird thing because all the problems of trying to get into those panels, at some point, a lot of us said, kind of like we did with cable, like, can we just pay extra to go to it? Which I'm fine with paying extra to go to it. The problem is it's not convenient anymore. It's not at the convention center.
Because I mean, like, unless they explain to me, and then do they have disabled things up in the nosebleeds? Because
I don't know.
That's where I would need to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look too far into. I just kind of got. I'm just like, so I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna pay to go to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think I guess I would be content finding out all the things.
Yeah.
It's a bummer, but
and it's per day, so it's not like you. It's an extra thing per day, or you get the, the 3-day pass. Like all in all, I think it's, I don't know, like $500 or something like that for the cheapest, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I don't know how they're gonna handle logistics of it. I think what it is like,
no idea.
It's gonna be after the convention closes for the night, so it's at night. So it's no longer during the day. So it's not like you have to go to the convention center, do whatever, and then midday everyone goes over to the Honda Center. I think it's after the convention center closes or towards the end ish, which helps a little bit, but like,
yeah, actually, I mean, that would be nice because then people can go see the other panels. And
but I'm like, knowing what traffic is like going to a hockey game right before a game starts, having everybody to leave the convention center, try to get on Catella, drive down Catella all the way to the Honda Center,
right,
it's gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I don't know, like, I get they want to have more people see these shows, but man, I don't know about logistics. I hope this is just like a one and done, because I can't foresee it not being an issue of people not being able to get to the Honda Center in time.
Right, exactly.
And then there'll be people who like, I need my refund because this is stupid and all this other kind of crap. Because like, it's not like, even if it's right after, even it would have to be like, if the convention center closes at, like, say 7:00, which I think it is, that thing can't start till like 9 something, because the logistics of filling in that, or they're just counting on people to leave the convention floor really, really early to get over there.
Totally.
So I'm not opposed to paying extra to go see those panels, because it's been hard to get into. But I don't like that it's now miles away from the convention center. That's what I don't like.
Yeah.
So yay. But I think March 26th is when D23 gold members can go buy tickets. So I'm probably gonna get just the convention center, more than likely.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
hopefully we'll see everything it's the entertainment showcase, which is going to be the movies and TV shows, I think, on Friday, and then Saturday is the experiences. So was typically probably the parks, cruise lines, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the Legends is on Sunday.
Oh, wow, that's interesting, because they usually have that the first. So
yeah, so I'm like, to pay that much and to have to go the hassle, I hope like Miley Cyrus. I'm not a big fan of hers, but like, she should be singing something, couple things. John Williams should conduct something.
Yeah.
For that,
I love Miley personally. Like, I think she's very talented.
But like,
but yeah, it would be nice if she sang something.
Yeah.
Did Christina sing something? I forgot.
Yeah, she did. She sang
Yeah. So.
Reflection.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Um, Very cool.
And then Angela Bassett just goes into Tina Turner mode.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. All right, let's move on to Lucasfilm. What's up with Star Wars? So there is a Mando and Grogu movie coming out from Dave Filoni, which will be in addition to James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie and Charmin Obaid Chinoy's, and I apologize if I mispronounced that, doing a Ray movie, and then John Favreau is doing a Mandoverse movie. So this is going to be different than Mandoverse.
Yeah, because I think that what was established is the Mandoverse one is the culmination of all these shows,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Grogu and Mando movie, I think, is almost in lieu of season 4.
Yeah. Oh, it's Meg. Hi, Meg. How are you?
Hello.
We're just getting into the Lucasfilm stuff.
Yeah,
I
so
sang your praises earlier, so
you did
you can rewind it later.
rewind. But yeah, so there's 4 movies that are in the works in various stages. I'm assuming.
Hopefully they'll give dates to these movies.
I think the Grogu and Mando one's first, and then the Rey movie, and then I'm not sure when the Mandoverse one and the Dawn of the Jedi one is.
I'm gonna assume that Favreau is. Yeah, you have to be kind and rewind. Uh, the Mando movie, I would imagine it's going to be the last one.
I mean, like,
I don't know why, but
it would be definitely after. It doesn't necessarily, because the Dawn of the Jedi one and the Mandoverse one don't really clash with each other timeline wise.
Yeah.
So it really depends on what the plan is for all the different Disney Plus shows in the Mandoverse are. Like, how far along is Ahsoka season 2?
Yeah.
Are they actually going to do a Book of Boba Fett 2? Are they going to do?
I hope they do.
Are they going to do an actual season 4 of The Mandalorian? We don't know. So right. It had to be after whenever those would come out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Dawn of Jedi, since it doesn't really depend on that, can come out whenever.
Right.
I don't know how far along Mangold's gotten on that, but I definitely know at least the Rey movie. They've really seen at least the treatment of it, and they're writing it right now.
Right.
And I'm going to assume, since like the Mando and Grogu movie wasn't part of the big announcement when the other 3 were, that this is what season 4 would have been, or they were starting to lay out what season 4 would have been, and this chunk of story just felt more like a movie.
Yeah.
So have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, if you get people to watch a Star Wars movie after the hate that the sequels got, Grogu is going to reunite.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. It's like, okay, yeah, the you know, people are either here nor there about the sequels, right? But I think that they proved that they can still, create awesome Star Wars content with the shows. I mean, like, I've loved all the shows, even Obi-Wan, which I know a lot of people didn't necessarily love, but I've loved all of the shows so far, and Bad Batch. So
yeah, I mean, like, even at its worst, it's still better than a lot of things. Like, I think some of these early shows suffered from having to overuse the volume.
Yeah.
Because when you can honestly,
tell, I mean, I can't. Yeah, you might be able to tell, but like, that's the way that I am with movies, though. is unless it's like horrible, I just generally like tell my mind, you know, okay, I'm like in the middle of this thing and I just don't
Right.
try to look for, the flaws in it.
For
Um,
me, it loses a little bit of immersion because like you
yeah,
watch something like Andor, which was not
yeah,
filmed in the volume. You can see depth. You can see life around what's happening. Anything
yeah.
in the volume, it's very while it may look open, it's still very claustrophobic
Hmm.
because it's vast and there's nothing except what's in the foreground.
Right.
It doesn't look as like the thing about Star Wars is always that whole it's lived in. It feels like a place that's been there forever.
Hmm.
That's what I get from some of the shortcomings of the storytelling in Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan.
Hmm.
Like Ahsoka did better because I think they did both, right?
Yeah.
So I as much as the volume has opened a lot of opportunity for scenes, it doesn't need to be everything.
Yeah. Yeah. True. True. All right. Also, what is going on with Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squad movie? There was a lot of excitement early on, and then we got nothing. So now that she is no longer involved with the DCEU and her writing on directing on Wonder Woman, she is now working on writing her Star Wars movie. Yay! So I hope
Yeah,
it'll be good.
yeah. Because like when she announced that, one, she's definitely very much into it. Like she did almost like a weird announcement trailer for it,
Yeah.
right? Talking about her father being a fighter pilot, all those kind of things.
Hmm.
Um, so it was bummed like when that was removed from like any of the slates coming out, like the schedules. I was like, oh man. But hopefully we'll get to see a Rogue Squadron movie. Like I don't at this point I don't even care what timeline it's in.
Right. Yeah, me
More
neither.
than likely it's going to be the sequel trilogy timeline, or it could be like right after or during like the Mandoverse timeline.
Right.
Because if they did a Rogue Squadron and if Carson Teva was in it, I would not be upset.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now the Acolyte. We got to see the poster. We got to see the trailer. What did you think?
um, I'm excited about it. Like I've always been excited about it because it's a whole different time frame from any of the other
Mhm.
things we've seen, unless you have kept up with the books and watched the Young Jedi adventures,
Mhm.
which I'm guessing not a lot of people do. Or so
I have watched some of the Young Jedi Adventures.
right, but like most because most like a lot of the like your casual fans don't even watch like Rebels or the Clone Wars or whatever. So
Yeah.
this will be the first kind of acknowledgement of this era in live action.
Yeah.
So I'm
But what's
excited
what's
about it.
nice is that it doesn't look like it's like completely like people will be like so confused. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
there's a familiarity to it, but at the same time, the thing I love is that like the cast is really diverse, and I love that about it.
Yeah. Um, and it's one of those things like we hopefully get to see the Jedi in their prime and
Hmm.
not at the end of their kind of era
Yeah, with
where they became soldiers. That's what happened in the prequels.
right,
Right. We got to see
right,
them kind of like argue around a table for a while and then they
yeah,
just led armies. uh
yeah,
which was part of the story. It's like the downfall of the Jedi as orchestrated by uh Emperor Palpatine.
right,
Here, the Jedi are technically at peace. Um, really, and should
And,
be
and,
like they had like a lot more. They seemed a lot more free to be themselves during this time period than the really dogmatic ways of the Jedi from the Republic era that
right.
we know. They were able to have relationships. There were some Jedi that just kind of broke away and they let them to be whatever they wanted to be. They're like, we are
Uh-huh.
going to follow the Force, and they're called the Wayfinders.
Yeah.
And their conflicts during this time were with, granted a really big conflict, but it wasn't like Sith. It wasn't like some dark side, whatever. It was straight up like there's your pirates that
Mm-hmm.
they're fighting against. Here, I think it's going to be a lot of focus more on the dark side of stuff. And I think the trailer, did a good job of kind of setting us up for what to expect. Like the first lines are like, "Don't trust your eyes."
Yeah.
So I think what we saw in the trailer, there might be some like, "Oh, this must be like this. What's going to happen?" I think it's going to be a total not what we expect.
Yeah. And I want one of those monkey creatures that is a Jedi. A youngling. I want the
Nice.
youngling
Monkey
monkey
guy.
guy. All right, let's move on to Marvel. And I'm going to start off with actually the Fantastic Forecast, which we have not talked about.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal, who we know from The Mandalorian and The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Last of Us? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Uh, he's going
Game
to
of
be playing
Thrones.
Reed Richards. And Vanessa Kirby from The Crown will be our new Sue Storm. Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things will be Johnny Storm, and Ibn Mas Baccarat from The Bear is going to be Ben Grimm. And Ibn Mas Baccarat has been like taking in a lot of awards.
Yeah.
So
And I
yeah,
forget
that's
he was an Andor.
he was.
He was he was spoiler alert, I guess.
Mm,
The group that Andor joins up with,
yeah.
he was the kind of like guy who was kind of antagonizing to him.
Oh, okay.
Remember, it was like the guy. There was like the nerdy guy with like his like diary thing. He
Yeah,
was all enthusiastic. This guy was the anti of that. Like he was like not
right.
trusting. And if you remember what happens, definitely not trusting.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's already been in Star Wars. So
right. Okay, cool. So they had that, and then who's Joseph Quinn in Stranger Things? I forgot. Is
Eddie,
he?
he's
Huh?
the D&D guy. He's the
Yeah, the D&D guy. Okay,
metalhead standout of that season.
yeah, that's right. Okay,
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about,
he's very British.
and I haven't watched The Crown, although it is on my list because
Yeah, she's the
Olivia
only one I'm not
Colman is in
familiar
it.
with. She was also in um, Mission Impossible, which
Oh, okay,
I kind
I
of
did.
remember. Like
Yeah,
she wasn't a big part, at least the ones I've seen. I don't think I've seen them all. I haven't seen the
right,
last one. She might be bigger in that one, but I think she was introduced in one of the other ones as a small kind of part.
right.
Um, but but I am I'm okay with this.
Yeah, though it's so funny. Pedro Pascal like is playing all of the major, pop culture people. Being in the Mandalorian and the Last of Us, and now he's Fantastic Four. But I think he's going to be a great Reed Richards, so I have no problem.
Yeah, like it's funny. Like people might say he's everywhere, but like he melts into whatever role he's in.
Yeah,
Like if you look at him in Game of Thrones versus The Mandalorian versus Wonder Woman 84, whatever, 80, whatever,
84.
and Last of Us, it's like very like they're very different
Yeah,
characters,
totally,
right?
totally.
And he's awesome on Saturday Night Live. Played
Yeah,
Mario.
Yep.
So I have no doubt that he can pull off the kind of aloof, arrogant, intellectual.
Yeah. I think this whole cast is going to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not as familiar with Vanessa Kirby, although I hope to be because The Crown is on my list
Yeah.
of things to see.
Can't remember who she plays in
Yeah,
The
I'm not
Crown,
sure.
but yeah.
Yeah,
Joseph Quinn was great in Stranger Things as a kind of goofball, um, 80s metalhead who loves D.
right.
So I can definitely see that.
Mm,
And that Ivan is always great and everything. He's a great character actor, I think.
yeah,
It is a gruffness that I think Ben Grimm.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, he's going to be mostly in CGI.
right. So,
Yeah. So,
um, yeah, that poster looks very 60s. So
yeah, I love
I
the
don't
poster.
know. I don't know how this is going to work, but I do hope since they included Robbie the robot, Robbie,
Herbie.
Herbert,
Herbie. Yeah.
that he's in it. And Herbie was like the replacement for Johnny Storm because they couldn't
Yeah, in
have the
the
rights.
animated series.
Couldn't have the rights from the animated series.
Yeah, which
Um,
is weird. Like, why?
I don't remember. Marvel has really
Yeah,
weird licensing issues.
yeah, yeah, true.
Um, but yeah, I I don't know. I don't know. Like the aesthetic was very 60s, so we'll
Yeah,
see how
I
this
like
plays
that.
into it.
I mean, like, I like that poster a lot.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see, where do they come from? Where are they? Were they always in the MCU proper, like the sacred timeline, or are they from an offshoot? You know, so
No,
we'll see.
maybe that'll be answered or at least teased in Deadpool.
Because it definitely looks like with speaking of, we're going to talk about that next. That Deadpool and Wolverine have been hyped. Like was it a month ago the trailer came out, and we were treated to Deadpool now joining the TVA, the Time Variance Authority from Loki,
Yeah.
which is going to be really cool because that will show us, different timelines. I mean, like, this is the way that I think that they're going to do the mutants is that, you know, coming in from different timelines. We saw at the end of Marvel, spoiler alert, that, there is a universe with the Beast and,
Yeah. Who did
oh my
she
gosh,
who did she
binary,
play?
binary.
Binary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
binary. Yeah. So that's gonna be a thing. And the Beast was played by uh Kelsey Grammer, who is the older Beast in
The
the
Fox X-Men.
the Fox X-Men. So that's really gonna be cool. And what's crazy is this is gonna be the only Marvel movie coming out in 2024. They've really been trying to go and figure things out.
Yeah.
And you know, honestly, like I've loved all the TV shows. Um,
I have not.
I I know you which one you're talking about in particular. Um, but I just think that um, I just think that people were expecting more based on Endgame, and when people weren't getting that kind of Endgame thing, they felt Marvel had lost it. But I just don't think so. I mean, like with the Marvels, I love that movie, and I'm sure that I'm going to love Deadpool and Wolverine. Uh, but yeah, there were a lot of the series that I like. You know, in particular, WandaVision, obviously, Loki, obviously. Um, I actually love Hawkeye. I love that series. I loved Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Moon Knight, I really liked. Ms. Marvel. So there are a lot of them. She Hulk. She Hulk. I think I felt that they got the tone of her comic, but I think that people were like, "Oh, what is this that we're watching?" When it's all been kind of end game kind of thing. Um, so yeah, so it'll be interesting. I mean, I'm sad that I'm not getting all my movies. I'm not getting my Shang-Chi 2, which I really want
Which
to see.
where
Huh?
Shang-Chi 2. I think that's to kind of counterpoint. I don't think it's we were expecting Endgame. I was never expecting Endgame. A lot of my friends weren't expecting Endgame, but we're expecting good storytelling. And I think because there are so many projects and so many threads going everywhere, but like leading to nothing, it just felt like they were lost. And it showed in a lot of things, and also showed in like the production value of everything. They were spread so
Yeah.
thin that some things just looked ridiculous.
I think
And we understand it's shows and whatever, but like where's Shang-Chi 2? What happens at the end of the Eternals? Like that led to
yeah,
nowhere.
because
Having
there
Scar show up out of nowhere and looking really bad, by the way.
who?
Scar. You've forgotten
Scar.
Scar. Scar. Hulk Jr.
Okay. Yeah.
See, you're
Yeah,
forgetting things. Like
that was
there are
kind of
so
like
many open-ended things that just seem
yeah.
like nothing was happening.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree. I agree with
Like
that.
where does
That's why I
Werewolf
like
by
the
Night
earlier
fall
ones.
in? Where's Moon Knight fit into all this stuff? What is this
Yeah, Moon
culminating
Knight.
into? Because there doesn't seem like there's going to be anything after all those things. Like, sure, I liked Moon Knight, but now what? What
Right.
has that
But we
led
do
to?
know that where Hawkeye is going because, spoiler alert, she showed up at the end of Marvels.
So
Um,
did, but so did who showed up at the end of Eternals? Nothing after that.
yeah, it was the Ebony Blade and what's his name? The oh my god, why can't I think of the name of the guy?
Thanos' Thanos's brother
Oh
or whatever.
yeah, and you're talking about Star Fox Arrows.
Yeah.
He was in that, yeah.
So even like
Um,
these little post credit things, I'm not buying it until I see that something is actually moved forward.
yeah, because I think there's got to be some connection between the Ten Rings, Ms.
Yeah, what happened with
Marvel's
that?
quantum band, and the Eternals. They're ring like things that they use.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I think there are way too many projects and way too many threads and too much time in between all that, so it doesn't feel like anything's connected anymore. The whole Marvel everything's connected of the first three phases was
yeah,
amazing. You can
yeah.
follow that thread. Now everything's kind of like I don't know where things are going anymore.
I think I honestly blame a lot of it on Chapek because he was wanting to get as much content on Disney Plus as possible. And so all the studios were forced to put out stuff. You know what I mean? And obviously they wanted to have a lot of Marvel stuff because of Marvel's track record.
Yeah.
And I think it did itself a disservice. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think it's good for them to kind of take a different thing. Oh, Meg is saying a few things.
Okay.
I haven't seen a few. Waiting till X-Men '97 season to finish before watching the rest. How can you do that? None of the shows, movies seem to be communicating with each other. They are just doing their stuff. The people who wrote Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness admitted to not watching WandaVision. Really? I had no
Yeah.
idea. That's so crazy.
And that is
Uh,
one of the reasons why that movie cannot be like I like parts of it, but then some parts I hated what they did with Scarlet Witch.
yeah, there was so concrete reason. There was.
No.
I'm going to assume it mean no concrete reason
Yeah.
for Wanda to go crazy and do a complete 180. Um, yeah, no concrete. Uh, yeah. At the same time, I really loved Elizabeth Olsen being kind of evil Scarlet Witch. Like, I actually
But it
loved
wasn't
that.
earned. But it wasn't
It
earned.
wasn't
That's the
earned. Yeah,
problem.
I agree. Like, she just kind of all of a sudden became evil. I mean,
Like
they
right
escaped. They
after she learned her lesson from WandaVision, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I did all these things to you. I'm gonna do
right.
worse. I'm just gonna be a nightmare and kill a whole bunch of other superheroes
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah, I can see
that's
that.
another thread. Where's White Vision?
Yeah, worth White Vision.
See, there's so many open-ended things that lead to nowhere, and that's the problem.
I hope that they eventually do, though. I mean, like Moon Knight, I would really like to see in the movies.
Yeah.
I thought that Oscar Isaac was great.
Yeah. Like
And
everything they've been casted great. Everything, like their ambitions were, I was there with them, but they just lost their way.
yeah,
Whether it was just too many things going on and no one really being able to rein it in, because only Kevin Feige can only do so much, you know.
yeah, yeah,
And he's not like as like controlling as I think some people think he is.
right.
But yeah, once you get like I was with She-Hulk until maybe the end. Like I thought that ending was weird.
Well, the ending was weird, like with Sakaar coming in at the last moment,
But even like
and
the whole like she entered the writer's room and it felt like they were almost giving a commentary on just how the writers' rooms are for these now.
right, yeah.
So yeah. So I was like,
Yeah, I agree. I agree with the ending of She-Hulk. Like, I wish that it were a little bit different. Like, I really liked the parts where she went to Abomination's like
yeah, like
camp.
I was there with the
That's
tone
that's
and the
very
feeling of it.
She-Hulky. Yeah,
Is when they started like when the Kevin robot came in or whatever it was.
yeah,
And the whole like she broke into the fourth wall literally.
right.
And the whole mess, like the ending, the mess of that ending kind of like I was like, it felt like they just like we need to get this done here.
Yeah, yeah.
Same thing with Secret Invasion. I was there for the first like 2-3 episodes and then it became a mess.
I still like it.
I did.
I mean, I was there, but I can see what you're saying, though. I can see what you're saying.
There's so many ramifications from Secret Invasion that go nowhere.
Yeah,
went nowhere.
I just like Olivia Colman.
Again, the cast is fine. I want Emilia Clarke to be in something that I truly, truly love.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like her character should have been in more things after Solo. Yeah. Her character was, but like her in the movies or something should have happened.
I'm hoping that isn't a ending. Like I feel that's going to be part of Captain America 4, and this whole kind of like new world order-ish kind of thing. Because I need more Coleman.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Like all that stuff. But like that ending where Sam Jackson's just like, oh, it's fine. The Skrulls and the Kree are talking it out or hashing it out. We're good. Yeah. And then in the Marvels, not so good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So. Like I don't know if that was supposed to be the connection, but that was a weak connection.
Right.
But yeah, there needs to be reined in and a lot more planning and like cohesiveness to these projects.
Yeah.
There were so many things that came out after Endgame that just did nothing. Like, sure, there's cool moments, good casting, happy to see characters, but story-wise, it's just and how, like, I don't even know what phase we're in anymore, because it doesn't seem like there's anything.
Yeah. I think that they're going to course correct. I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that Deadpool and Wolverine is the only movie coming out this year, and it's going to be multiverse themed, and then we're looking at X-Men and Fantastic Four coming in. I just feel like hopefully they're going to come up with a multiverse movie that everybody's going to love and will
we need
explain where
we
everybody
need
fits
that
in.
we need that Battle World
Yeah.
or the end of Infinite Crisis in DC, where everything's like all these things, and then shook,
Yeah.
it makes this
Yeah.
new world where
Right.
everything exists. So you can
New
have the
sacred
X-Men
timeline.
and everything and whatever. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
moving forward, we can be like, all right, none of this multiverse stuff and like 8 different
Right.
Reed Richards. And like,
Yeah.
I am going on the record here saying like Kelsey Grammer is not going to play Beast in the Marvel MCU X-Men.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I actually like him as Beast.
I did 10 years ago when he
Yeah.
was, but to start off a franchise.
Well, they need to start off with younger Beasts.
Yes.
And, I
Because
think
that's
that,
the role. Because unless he's totally CG, that's going to be a
yeah,
very taxing thing to do
right.
for however old Kelsey Grammer is right now. He's got to be
Yeah.
like in his 70s. He's not going to do wire work.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like, he's fine being in a lab coat in a lab
Yeah.
for those scenes, but Beast needs to be super dynamic, and I don't think Kelsey Grammer can pull that off. So he needs to
I
be
mean,
someone who can do it.
I would like to see non-blue Beast at first.
It'll be interesting to see what they do. But
Yeah, but I would like him that heavy set uh, genius, not Nicholas Holt.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
As long as they also don't do like the lion version of Beast.
right.
I'm never a fan of that version of him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the trailer for a minute. What did you think of the trailer
For
Deadpool
what are we talking about?
and Wolverine?
I think it gave us enough to definitely want us wanting more.
Yeah.
Do I wish? Like, here's the thing: I wish I didn't see the costume yet. I wish I didn't see Wolverine's look, so that when it's revealed in a better way, like the way they would want it to be, that we would be like, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" But we keep seeing, paparazzi like shots of him, so we already know what it looks like.
Unfortunately, it's like there's no escaping it.
Yeah, like this would have been awesome to see for the first time in like a well-made, produced trailer or something.
Mm-hmm.
The reveal that he's in a more classic-looking Wolverine outfit, that would have been amazing.
Yeah,
but like I don't know where this is going, but I liked what I saw.
Yeah,
he's involved in the TVA. That's why I'm like, hopefully this is the course correction. But I don't know how much they put into this, knowing that it's a course correction.
Right.
So
we'll see. I mean, they've been working on it for a while, so
right. But this also, they worked on it before, like deep in the Chapek era.
Yeah.
So what was the mandate to get Wolverine into the MCU, or Deadpool and Wolverine into the MCU?
Yeah.
Was it
that began even before Chapek. That started with Iger back in that time.
Right. But like the actual production, like sure, talking about it before, whatever, but like it had to fit into whatever was going on at the time of production, which was Chapek era.
Yeah.
Which is She-Hulk and Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night and Deadpool and Multiverse of Madness and all these movies and shows.
Yeah.
And I don't know, considering during that time no one else is talking to each other, how this would be the course correcting movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think it might open doors, but I don't think it's going to be the fix for the MCU. I
Yeah.
think the fix
Yeah.
will
I mean,
come
we'll see.
from it. Whatever comes
Yeah.
after it will have to be the course correction.
Right. All right. Moving on. Agatha has gone through a lot of different titles. I'm trying to remember some of them, like
I think the first one was Agatha Harkness.
yeah, Agatha Harkness, and then the Coven of Chaos. Then it
Yeah.
was the Darkhold Diaries, and now it's just going to be called Agatha.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for this show. This is a show where Joe Locke, who had no acting experience before, and got up to play a lead in Heartstopper, my favorite show in the whole world.
What?
And yeah, I know. And um, he was able to become best friends with Broadway diva Patti LuPone. I mean, come on. How, and then you got Catherine Hahn as Agatha, you got Aubrey Plaza. I mean, this is a show that I think it's going to be good. If it could be, like if it's anything like WandaVision, I'll love it, you know. And yeah, I think it'll be good. So,
Hopefully.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, we're starting to come at the end of the Chapek era Marvel, so we'll see
Mm-hmm.
how all this plays out.
All right, and our final bit, Meg. I don't know if we're going to talk about it. Um, the show whose theme song has been in my head all day long, X-Men '97. What did you think of the first few episodes? Meg, did you watch the first few episodes? Is
I
that
think
what you said?
she said she's not going to watch it until it's done.
Oh, okay. Man.
It's
Uh,
10 episodes, so and we're on episode 3 or 2.
no, two.
Yeah. They showed 3 at the premiere.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, so there's a lot of people who saw 3 already.
I don't want to
Um
know. I don't want
yeah.
to know
Um
anything.
but I think we got more out of these first 2 episodes of character development and story and whatever than
Mhm.
most of the Marvel stuff since Endgame.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I just think that it was amazing that they were able to replicate that animation style,
Yeah.
but still make it better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a
Like it's not.
combination of CG and hand drawn.
Yeah, it's not quite as like the old animation was very kind of rigid, um, and this one seems to be flowing more, but it's very subtle,
Yeah.
and I think that's what I like about it. And just when it starts with the X-Men theme song, I mean, geez, you puts you right into it. Like that was genius that they just decided to use that. And I mean, obviously they were, or obviously they were going, but I mean, it's the exact title song, isn't it? I mean, like, am I?
I mean, it's not what they used in the cartoon. It's a
Oh, did it?
redone version of it, but
But it
it's the
sounds
same
like it.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're going for. Like where I think they might have used probably like synths and whatever for the original one. I think they used
Mhm.
actual musicians for this one.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's a lot of I mean, one very nostalgic, and I like whatever live action version of the X-Men comes out, like there has to be almost a version of this theme. It's
Yeah.
really synonymous with the X-Men. They even use it as like cues in Ms. Marvel and Multiverse of Madness. right? So it's like this is the X-Men theme. So I'm hoping they do something with that when the live version of the X-Men come out.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's so like, I mean, like just the fact that Marvel Studios has the X-Men back,
Yes,
I'm just so excited about it all.
and here's the thing, right? So this is now a Marvel. It's so super weird to watch this cartoon, and at the end titles have like Walt Disney Company.
Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly. Marvel
Yeah.
Studios,
Yeah.
like that kind of thing, like
Yeah.
soundtrack by Hollywood Records.
Right.
Yeah, I think
Um.
that's really cool.
But yeah, like this to me is like okay, this is where like if Disney, like Marvel, and for this, and then also Star Wars animation, the storytelling is like amazing.
Hmm.
I still think Bad Batch Rebels is still some of the best Star Wars you've gotten since Disney.
Oh,
Disney
like just in general,
acquired
like
it.
I think that the animation, a- Star Wars animated stuff has been some of the best.
Yeah, I mean it's
You
deep.
know,
It's character driven, story driven. A lot
yeah.
of emotional. Like there was so much emotion in these first two episodes
Hmm.
that I'm just like I don't even know what to do.
Yeah.
Like both like I don't want to get a spoiler because this came out. So like,
Right.
but
Exactly.
both episodes when they ended, when the first one ended, I'm like, oh my god. And then when the second one ended, I was even like, oh my god, like what?
I know.
Knowing,
Yeah.
especially knowing comics, right? Because we know
Right.
that I'm so familiar with that '90s era of X-Men. Then I'm just like,
Hmm.
oh my god, is this happening? Am I
Yeah.
seeing what I think I'm seeing? But man, it's so weird to see like this old '90s style animation where I'll admit, like the cartoons we grew up with, there's a lot of like budget things and things are like stiff
Yeah.
and but
Right.
at the time we didn't care. And but sometimes now because we've seen so many different innovations in animation, it just looks dated. But
Yeah.
this looks dated in a good way because they
Yeah. That's what
forcefully
I'm
made it
saying. Is
look
it was subtle. It's
yeah,
subtle what they've done.
like they
Like they didn't
manipulated the frame
completely
rates
change things. Yeah.
to make it
It's
kind of match that animation style from the 90s.
right.
Um, they put a patina over the film so it makes it look like it's from the 90s.
Yeah.
Um, like even like when they're talking, it's not like the super smooth like but it's still like 90s ish,
Yeah.
but it still works. Like here's what I'll say about without too big of a spoiler. I've never been a Cyclops fan from comics
Mm,
to the animated show.
really?
He might be one of my favorite characters in these first two episodes.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
they
because
made
he's
me
got,
like Cyclops.
yeah, they got they gave him a purpose. And
Yeah,
but I've actually been in Cyclops. I had a crush on Cyclops when I was younger.
I never liked Cyclops. I've admitted that so many times. I'm like, I don't like Cyclops.
Yeah.
Um, I was like, literally, I'm Wolverine in terms of his feelings for Cyclops.
Right.
But these two episodes, I'm like, Cyclops. I'm a fan of this version of Cyclops.
Yeah.
Um, and all of them, like, I love that they added Morph into the fold,
Hmm.
and I like how they use like his look from Astonishing X-Men,
Yeah.
like that blank face looking thing.
Right.
But I like his like he hasn't had a lot. He hasn't had a lot to do, but the stuff he does has been amazing.
Hmm. Yeah. I
Um,
agree.
like all of them, Bishop.
And they sound like the. I don't know if they got.
They got most of them. Some of them have passed away.
Okay,
Scott
so they did.
Summers is that actor passed away. I think Magneto's actor passed away.
Yeah, but they
Jubilee
still sound.
Jubilee used to be voiced by I think a white girl. and she was approached to do it, but she's like, I'd be happy to. However, I feel like an Asian should be playing Jubilee.
Good
and so
for her.
It's now an Asian.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But like Rogue is the same. I think Wolverine is the same. Storm, I think, is the same. Jean Grey is the same. I think. But I know like some of the factors of getting this done was like they needed to approach all the original actors who are alive.
Yeah.
To see if they still want to do it.
And
they got a bunch of them.
I have not seen anybody that's disliked the show so far.
Yeah. Like anyone who understands what the X-Men were.
Yeah, exactly. If you were a fan of the X-Men in the 90s, you're going to be a fan of the X-Men 97.
Totally. Yeah, if they keep ending the episodes like the way they have been,
I know.
It's going to be every week on this to be like, man.
Yeah, I'm like, man, when's the next episode?
I'm like, man, I wish they'd just put them all out. But like, right. I'm also glad they didn't because it keeps people talking about it.
Yeah.
So, but highly recommend. It's I didn't know what to expect from it, honestly. But it's what I expected ish. This like what I expected was like to be a continuation of the cartoon. So I'm like, all right, then this needs to use the same style, whatever.
Right.
And cartoons from 30 plus years ago sometimes weren't the greatest. Sometimes there's a lot of cheesiness because it's the 90s. But right. I think the storytelling in these episodes have been fantastic, like on par with anything. Like I would say these are a really good start to this arc of whatever they're going through. And if this is the level of writing they can expect from X-Men in a cartoon, imagine what Marvel can do with an MCU version of this.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right? Whereas like the Guardians of the Galaxy were these goofy, goofballs out in space. The X-Men have a lot of like baggage and character and like and stuff. So it could be the more dramatic side, but also, fastball special. There's some silliness. Gambit.
Yeah.
Like there's room to play.
I really want to see the Shi'ar. That was always. Yeah, I loved whenever the X-Men would.
Like I never thought. Well, I'm gonna say, I think we have to wait until more episodes pass. But like, yeah, there's some things where I'm like, I never thought I'd see.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, well, very cool. And good show for our return.
Yeah, we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we had a lot to talk about, and so anyway, we are at the end of our show now. Do you have anything else you want to share before we close?
No, just hope to get back into the swing of things and do this more regularly.
More often, yeah, exactly.
Because there have been a lot of weeks where I'm like, man, like news came out about something.
Yeah, like we didn't get to talk about Inside Out 2 or all that jazz. So yeah, maybe we'll talk about it
when it comes closer. Like when like I guess the full more stuff will come out. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for showing up. And or if you're watching this in repeat, we're glad that you are watching us. If you like the content that you saw today, we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like our posts, as it really does help us out. Visit us on all of our socials down below. And with that, I say goodbye.
Catch you on the flip side. Almost forgot my.